Hello viewers from all over the world, from wherever you're watching this tutorial. Welcome to yet another tutorial, and I'm glad to be back. It's been a long time. Today I'm going to be showing you one-time password implementation in your standalone Windows Phone application. Many of us know that we have this traditional way of this username password login, which is really good as long as we have a good encryption standard to protect the password being stored on the local machine. At the same time, we also um, know that we don't usually have OTP based authentication for uh, standalone application, but out of curiosity and out of you know trying to do something new, I've decided to implement this program and functionality in a large application that I'm building. So I'm just going to show you how it works, and I'm going to give you the link uh, to actually see the code and work with code, modify the code, and do whatever you want with the code. It's not a perfect code, I must admit. There are still a few bugs in it, and I want you guys to actually use it for your project in case you need it. Um, Without wasting my time and your time, I would actually run you through the actual things that you need to understand in this program. The first thing you need to understand is that this authentication uh, program is very simple, and it's involved the use of a database. In my case now, I have a local database. I use a SQL Server Compact database. Um, in your own case, you could have a SQL Server, MySQL Server. You can have whatever database you want to use for the authentication. I think it's totally up to you, and it's totally up to the kind of application you're building, and it's totally up to the kind of deployment method you want to use. So in my case also, I want us to understand the basic authentication need. The first need is that we want a valid user to be able to authenticate the application. So how do we do this? So like every application, you have a form called the register form, which obviously we all know, and the form does only one thing: to register the users who will be able to have access, and the kind of access control depending on uh, the access level that you want to give them um, later on in your authentication process. In my own case, I have a registration form, uh, which um, which I think which looks like this. So my registration form looks like this, and this is the entire registration form. And all I need here is just for my authentication, I need an email of the user and a phone number of the user so that I can send the OTP to the user. So, having said that, I'm gonna go back here. So I'm gonna go back here, and I'm gonna show you a few things that you need to know. Now, you have a user who's gonna enter his credential basically to log in. Now, we have, do you have a OTP? I don't. Initially, no user have a OTP since OTP basically expires, but users could have generated an OTP and want to use it. So that's also understandable. So yes or no? If yes, you can log in. If no, you can generate the OTP. So let me run the quick, let me do a quick run of the program, and before I go on in the explanation. So this is my program. So do I have a OTP? No. So if I click on generate OTP, because this field is empty, it should tell me that now this field cannot be empty. So it's gonna go back here. If I said yes, I do, now you realize that the button changed. This field becomes enabled. This other field, well, then it becomes enabled. So which wasn't so uh, before. So That's the first thing I want you to know. Another thing I want you to see is I have the traditional, let's say the traditional login kind of form in my application also. So I've created two types of login. I've created the OTP login and the traditional login. So this is my traditional login, and if I don't want to log in traditionally, I can say take me back to the OTP. I can register. It all depends on what I want to do in my application. So let's go back to the code, which is where we want to be right now in actual sense. So another thing I want you to understand is how to manage validity of the password. In this case, I've set the validity to be around 10 minutes. That's at 600 seconds. And why I've done that is I feel there is no need to have a lengthier expiration period for a OTP or a lesser expiration period for a OTP, as the case may be. So I'm just going to run through the functionality in details and show you how it works. Also, I want to point out that here I've used a third-party SMS Gateway Solution. I've used the Ozeki SMS Gateway Solution. You can find it here. You can see it. And we have here, you can use the trial. It's a 30 days trial. You download it and extract the file and install it on your machine. So I think that part is being covered. Then this I have actually introduced this in order to explain to you how to actually implement the SMS part of the authentication process. Again, the next thing is I want to show you my OTP database. I have a database, and in Microsoft Visual Studio, I think from 12 and 13, we have the SQLite and SQL Server Compact toolbox, which is a very good application, by the way, a very good program. So I'm going to show you how my database looks like. This is basically my database, and this is my this is a table for my one-time password. So let me show you the schema. Let me show you the table itself. So this is my table. Now the first thing I want you to know is the ID, which is primary key. It's auto incrementing, and we know the rest. And the email of the user, the password has been generated, the validity, if it's expired, the time it's generated, and the date it's generated, and the expiry date of the OTP. Now, the next thing is this part, valid. When you generate a new OTP, like here, it's valid if it's 0. It's invalid if it's 1. Like you can see, all this passwords are now invalid. If you use any of these passwords, they're not going to work. And if it's invalid, obviously it's expired. So I think that covers the whole valid or invalid part. So this is my database basically, and also I want to show you my app.config file. So my app.configuration file, it's basically my configuration file that stores my connection string for the database, and also the configuration settings for my program or my application, as you may say. So let me run you through the code itself. Now, I'm just going to go through basics now. The first thing is the start date, the start time, which is 0 seconds, and the expiry, which is 10 minutes by specifying 600 seconds. Just say 600 seconds. So now Then we have the random numbers which we want to use for generating our password. Now, initially when I started writing this program, I decided to go for random uh, numbers, and alphabets, an uppercase, lowercase combination in order to generate my OTP. And as you can see here, that the first few passwords includes random numbers, the the alphabet, the uppercase, the lowercase, and so on and so forth. So this is the initial numbers and letters that I have that I want to actually use in generating my password. And anyone familiar or anyone who's worked with databases before will agree with me that there is not much difference between using an SQL server database and using your SQL compact database, like using your local database and as well, or using your database engine, whichever way you may say. So this part, I think, if you want to implement this, you would know it. So I'm gonna skip that part, but I want to skip that part a much. So it's just the connection string referring to the configuration name, the config name here. So I think that settles that part. And also, what we are more focused on is the actual implementation. Now, the actual implementation starts from here. This part checks if the mobile number exists. We're gonna get the home mobile number from the database, from the user's registration field or table in our database. So this part is getting the mobile number of the user, and the function is returning the mobile number so that we can use it later on. This function is checking the mail, if the mail is valid or not. If you've used if you've used SQL Server R2 2008 or whatever 2012, the only difference that we found here in SQL Server Compact is that there is a method or there is a function called as rows when you're reading your data from the database, which is not here in SQL Server Compact. So I think what I've done here is I've tried to manage the code as much as I can, even though it's not really suitable for this purpose. It doesn't work as well. It doesn't work well like the ASRO method that we have in the SQL Server R2 2008 or 12, or earlier or later version of SQL engine. So this is initial value of ASRO is 0. So I think it's 1 somewhere. Okay, ASRO is 0. So if ASRO is equals to 1, then this value exists. If not, it doesn't exist. That's very simple. So that's what I've done here. So if ASRO equals to 1, I've commented this part out during testing. It exists. If not, the email does not exist or it's invalid. Then the method to generate the function to generate the one-time password. Like I said initially, I've tried to generate a one-time password using random numbers and alphabets and letters and uppercase, lowercase. So if you want to generate using uppercase, lowercase, and numbers, this is where you do it. And if you want to generate it using timestamp, which I believe it's much more secured and much more better, you can use this part of the program. This part of the code. Then I have another function or subroutine. This is not a function. The subroutine is a method to actually save the OTP to my database. So I'm gonna call the generate timestamp function because it's returning the password. then this timer, let's assume you keep your application running for the whole period of the OTP expiration. How do you check it? So this timer is actually counting down till 10 minutes, and after 10 minutes it's going to send a message to a database that a OTP is basically expired. So I'm calling the check method, which is checking for the check functions, beg your pardon, which is checking for the mobile number also, and also then I'm gonna call that too. So here you have date as D1 as date, then D2 is date. I mean, D1 is the initial date, and D2 is date after 10 minutes when the OTP is gonna expire. So the method save OTP. This method is save and send OTP, and I have a method to save the OTP, which I'm gonna go to right now, and I have another method that's saying mail OTP, so which is used to mail the password to the user email. So this is a save OTP. Basically, if you read this code, it's as simple as anything you can get, any way you can get it, and I think you'll be able to walk around with it. It's basically sending the OTP to the database, saving the OTP to the database, and this part of the code is mailing the OTP to the user mail. So this is my email ID. You may have a different email ID, and I've added to, I think, three email servers. I mean, domains. I have Gmail, I have Yahoo, and I think I have Outlook. Yeah, so you can send any of this password to your user, whether they have a Gmail account or whether they have a Yahoo Mail account or Outlook account, whichever way you want to do it. So now this method is sending the OTP to the SMS. Like I talked about this guy, the Ozeki SMS Gateway. So this is the code. In fact, the Ozeki has given us a demo code to work with. So this is my username, this is my password, and this is the server, the actual server that we're trying to access, which is basically on my computer, and the port is 9501, which is the default port for Ozeki NG SMS Gateway. So this part is just sending the OTP that is generated to our user by phone number. You can have another SMS gateway. You can send it through other SMS gateway depending on what you want. The whole point is actually generating the OTP and sending it to the user and validating the OTP. Now I talked about a timer OTP, the timer OTP that's counting down, showing if a timer is if our OTP is up to date or not, and if our timer reaches 10 minutes, then it's gonna say it's expired. So that's basically what this part is. It says I have commented this part. I said timer counting up to expire time 600 seconds to 10 minutes. So 600 seconds, which is equals to 10 minutes, basically. Sorry, and it calls the method to update the valid and expired columns in the database. So this part, up to date to valid, is actually validating our database, showing if our OTP is expired or not. This part, there is nothing here, just showing, just enabling and disabling the text fields in our form, on our forms, basically. So then we have this part that says login. So I have this login part that actually does the actual login. It picks the data from the database and it logs in like our normal traditional login process. So there is nothing big deal about this part. So up to date is saying it's sending validity as 1 back to the back end if the valid is 0, and we're calling it here when uh, time equals to 600 seconds or 10 minutes, as the case might be. So another thing is the okay, this is up to date, and this part is showing the expiry. Now this expiry time, initially we are we're generating the expiry time. I mean, we're taking the expiry and from the database and the generated time from the database, and we're comparing. We have a current time here, which is the current time, and we're comparing it to the generated time and expiry time. Now, the first thing is that if the current time is less than the generated time, then we know that someone has actually altered the system date and time in order to actually manipulate it. So we're not going to allow, we're not going to be able to, we would not allow the user to validate his or credential. Also, we are trying to check if the current time is greater than generated time and the current time is greater than the expired time, which is like double kind of check in order to ensure that the OTP is expired. Then if the OTP is expired, then we want to update our two columns, the expired column and the generated columns, and then we want to OTP is valid, then simply log in, and that's it, and this part. Now this method, for some reason I've named it this way, like the final check. So this final check is checking for the expiry, it's checking for checking if the OTP is valid, is checking for if the users are completely or if users actually logged in, and if user logs in with a password once, that he cannot use it again. This is what this part is doing. So I'm just gonna run the program and gonna show you the working, and I'm gonna show you my my database and the rest later. How the OTP is being generated, and also I'm gonna show you the emails that is being sent to my email ID as the OTP is being generated. So basically, I'm just going to chill for now. So I'm going to show you actual working of this program. So let's run the program once more. So I don't have a, let's say I don't have a, this is a valid email which is in my database. So I'm gonna say generate OTP. It said OTP has been sent to your email, so check for password. So that's it. And so I mean, before I go on to use it, let me show you the database now, how it looks. I think where are you? One sec. So now this is a new password that I just generated. Remember, it was 24 before, now it's 23, and if you look at my time here, it's the same time that it's been generated, and it's saying, it's gonna expire by, it's generated at 6:37 a.m. and it's gonna expire at 6:47 a.m. after 10 minutes. So basically, I'm just gonna use it now. So let me use it. Let me log in with this password. I'm just gonna take this password, then I'm gonna come back here and just log in with it. So I have I think and this is the password, I think. Okay. Okay. So the login, there is a I think there's something wrong with that part. I have to check it. Like I said, there's still a few bugs in it, so please don't be don't. I'm sorry if it doesn't work. So that's the login. Let me see. Let me now test. It's a test. Then blah blah blah. So the piece expired. So basically, it should not be saying that, but because test. So because there's no OTP like this, so it says OTP is expired. So say I try to use the same OTP again. Now it's saying OTP is expired, which is what we expect from it to do. So, like I said, this program is not fully functional. Like you still have to do a lot of things to it. You still have to walk around the code. But I think this will give you a basis on how you can actually create your one-time password. So let me show you the email part. Email. So this is the email that is sending the password. So let's see if there's a recently sent email. Yeah, this password that we just generated, it was generated at 6:37 a.m. The same time your OTP is being generated. Now, if I refresh, if I show you the part that is not the mobile part. The mobile part, the problem with that is that my Ozeki free trial got expired, and I cannot actually you know use it. So that's why for now. So oh, I disabled the service because I don't need it right now. So let me see. I'm just gonna show you the panel actually how it works. Okay, so I think we're good right now. What is happening? Yeah, so my license is expired, so I can't show you the actual way. In fact, so it's expired. So I'm trying to get the actual license, but this is how your gateway would be. Now, to round up this tutorial, the conclusion is this: we can actually authenticate our users using one-time password. We can send it to the password to emails. We can show the validity of the passwords, and we can do a lot of things with just one click away. The code is right in front of you. Like I said, it's not a perfect code. There are still few things that needed to be touched there, and I feel like you guys can use it and let me know what you feel about it and what you think about it, and what should be done to a few bugs that are still in the code. So till I see you the next time, I wish you all the best. Good luck and goodbye for now. God bless you all. Bye.